Introduction. Thank you for purchasing The Science of Self-Discipline, how daily self-discipline, everyday habits, and optimized belief system will help you beat procrastination, plus why discipline equals true freedom. If you're listening to this, it is because you are serious about improving your overall quality of life by improving your self-discipline. Indeed, building self-discipline is not easy. In fact, it is one of the hardest skills which a person can develop. But therein lies the beauty of this topic. It is a skill which anyone can develop. It is not something which people are born with. It is a skill just like any other. So that means you can build it and make it grow. The most successful people in the world, from athletes to artists to business people, all exhibit self-discipline to a great extent. They are able to make the most of their individual traits and put them to work through their own concerted effort to achieve their goals. As such, the first step to developing self-discipline is to have clear goals in life. When you have clear goals, you are able to make the most of your opportunities by putting in the work needed to achieve what you would like to achieve. Regardless of what you want to get out of life, your concerted efforts to make the most of your talents will help you develop the focus, drive, and determination needed to achieve anything in life. Of course, there are goals which are harder to reach than others. Nevertheless, your ability to exhibit self-discipline will give you that edge you need in order to keep pushing, especially when things get tough. This book is for anyone who is interested in strengthening the most important trait pertaining to self-discipline, their willpower. As you will see throughout this book, willpower is the determining factor when it comes to being successful in developing self-discipline. If your willpower is down in the dumps, developing self-discipline will become one of the hardest things you could ever set out to do. On the other hand, if you take the time to foster your willpower, you will be able to achieve anything you put your mind to. Best of all, a strong willpower becomes a feedback loop, which will enable you to keep gaining more and more momentum. So, do take the time to listen to this book and make note of the lessons contained herein. As you get more and more momentum with each victory, you will gain a deeper understanding of what it takes to be successful in your particular field. Consequently, your self-discipline will also gain momentum. The main thing to keep in mind is that self-discipline, like any other skill you can learn, will only get stronger in relation to the time and effort you put into developing it. So, don't be shy to put in some good old-fashioned elbow grease into developing your self-discipline. In the long run, you will see for yourself just how much investing in this skill will pay off. Thank you, Timothy Willink. How to get the most out of this book. With this practical guide to improving your overall memory skills, you can begin to see real results in no time. This book has been created to work in several ways. Number 1, consistency is key. There are several strategies related to improving your overall self-discipline. By sticking to them, you can ensure tangible results. Number 2, stay focused. By staying focused on improving your memory, you will surely begin to see results very soon. Number 3, review any parts you need. By reviewing part of this book, you can continue to build your understanding of the topic. I would greatly encourage you to take the time to go over the theory and practice described herein. I'm sure that you can find information which you can share with your family, friends, and colleagues. You can certainly help anyone you know improve their overall skills. Note, the information contained in this book has been thoroughly researched. However, if you should feel compelled, consult with a qualified professional before attempting to do any of the exercises described in this book. This will give you the peace of mind in knowing that the information presented in this book is based on sound science. Chapter 1. The Core of Self-Discipline. In this chapter, we will take a look at the single most important element behind the science of self-discipline, willpower. Often, folks tend to look at willpower as some magic potion that you can take in order to get things done. Others believe that willpower is something that you are somehow born with. The fact of the matter is that willpower is neither magic nor is it something with which you are born. Willpower is, though, the most important skill that you can develop. This is particularly important to keep in mind. Willpower is a skill. And since it is a skill, it can be learned and instilled into someone or yourself. Willpower is also at the core of the most important actions and decisions you can make in your life. Consider this situation. You need to get something done, yet you decide to put it off for later. This is called procrastination. Procrastination is the little bug that gnaws at your mind. It is the little voice that tells you to go to bed, take a break, watch TV, or simply do anything else rather than what you know you ought to be doing. For example, instead of choosing a healthy eating alternative, you choose the savory, unhealthy option. Instead of drilling down and studying for a test, you decide to watch TV or play video games. Sound familiar? The fact of the matter is that procrastination is public enemy number one. It can become so ingrained that it can render your actions completely inoperable. You know you should do one thing or another, yet you choose to simply put it off. This is where willpower kicks in. Willpower is that inner drive you have to keep pushing forward when you don't feel like it. It is the drive that keeps you going, especially when you are tired and discouraged. This is the determination that people have to get up early, including on the days when they don't have to, and get their workout in, or the drive you see in people who stay up late getting things done. Now, willpower isn't just about getting up early or staying up late. It is about understanding what it takes to achieve your goals and objectives. It is a keen insight into what you need to do in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Consequently, willpower is a response to the inner turmoil between what you want to do and what you ought to do. Think about that for a moment. If what you want to do is the same as what you ought to do, then there is no conflict. There is no reason for you to struggle because you are perfectly happy to do what you have to do. For example, you have a job as a television critic. So your job consists of watching television all day and then writing your opinion about it. This may sound like a dream job, especially because you will be paid to do something which you enjoy. But what about if you had a job which you didn't enjoy at all? What if you had to get up early and go do a job which did not satisfy you in any way? This is where willpower kicks in. It is that response between what you want to do and what you should do. This is the response in your body that forces you to do what you don't want to do because it is what you ought to do. So, willpower is what makes you go to the gym when you're tired, or study when you'd rather play video games, or stay on your diet when you'd much rather have a bunch of sweets. Willpower resides in the brain. It is a chemical and neurological response to the circumstance we are faced with. It is linked to the decision-making center located in the prefrontal cortex. This is the area that is located behind your forehead. It controls several logical functions. These logical functions, such as decision-making, are the ones most associated with willpower. When this part of the brain is working properly, individuals have the options to override some of their natural urges in favor of activities and situations which are more productive and produce the best outcomes. Now, like any other part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex is rather sensitive, so it is susceptible to any kind of imbalance, either through a lack of proper nutrition or sleep. In addition, it is fed by the amount of work and practice a person puts into developing its capabilities. When healthy and rested, the prefrontal cortex provides little hindrance to an individual's decision-making abilities. It actually provides people with the option to make one choice over another, given the circumstances they face. Under adverse conditions, the prefrontal cortex is overstimulated, leading to a negative reaction. Consider this situation. You are on a diet. Your doctor has told you that you could stand to lose a few pounds as a part of your new health regimen. So you have decided to cut out unhealthy snacks and junk food. Whenever possible, you will make the healthier option. However, you are hungry because you skipped lunch due to a meeting that overran. By the time you leave the office, you're famished. The first thing you see when you leave the office is a hot dog vendor. You run over and scarf one down, totally breaking your diet. What happened in this scenario? The adverse effects of hunger totally broke your willpower down. You went for the first option you could find. The first option, in this case, was a completely unhealthy one. Yet your feelings of hunger clouded your judgment and led you to wolf down a hot dog. If your willpower had kicked in, you would have chosen to avoid the hot dog vendor or simply wait a bit longer and opt for the healthier choice. But in this example, there was not willpower to be seen. You simply broke down and ate the first thing you saw. This is why willpower is considered to be the solution to an internal conflict. While willpower can also be seen in the way you handle external conflict, the fact remains that internal conflict is always the hardest to deal with. When you deal with external conflict, there are usually external forces that may make you stop or push you to keep going. Therefore, the first thing you can do to boost your willpower is to be aware of what you are up against. If you understand the circumstances you're in, the chances of your willpower overcoming challenges is greater. Also, getting the proper nutrition is ideal. When you are hungry or undernourished, your body begins to crave certain types of foods. For example, your body may crave sweet or salty food. As such, the temptation to eat unhealthy foods is too great for you to resist. Additionally, catching up on your sleep is fundamental to strong willpower. It is rare to find an individual who can keep going and be disciplined while functioning on short sleep. The folks who most commonly develop strong willpower, despite a lack of sleep, are military members. In the military, soldiers are trained to stay on track despite a lack of sleep. This is done through the establishment of routines and a defined chain of command. Another crucial element to boosting willpower is being as stress-free as possible. What happens when you're stressed out is that you end up making poor nutritional choices or not getting enough sleep. This will most assuredly affect your cognitive functions. When it does happen, the brain has no choice but to find the easier option to alleviate whatever it is feeling. Finally, the biggest step you can take to building strong willpower is to have a positive internal dialogue. In other words, if you speak to yourself in a positive manner, positive things will happen. On the other hand, pessimistic thoughts and ideas will only lead to your willpower breaking down. As such, staying positive has a tremendous effect on your willpower. When you're able to use positive affirmation and visualization techniques to keep you grounded, you will see just how valuable a positive internal dialogue can be. On the whole, willpower is predicated by your feelings. If you are living a type of lifestyle that isn't overly stressful and which offers you the ability to live comfortably, then your willpower will have a chance to flourish. That is why it is of the utmost importance that you try your best to keep yourself at peace as much as possible. In addition, taking care of your body through good nutrition and sleep are fundamental aspects which will help you get the most out of yourself. So, take the time to clean up the negatives in your life. This will give your willpower a fighting chance when things get tough for you along the road to achieving your goals and objectives. Chapter 2. Getting a Handle on Life. In this chapter, we're going to be taking a look at how stress can affect your willpower and how you can get a handle on stress by learning how to cope with it. When thinking about willpower and how you can develop the drive and the resolve to achieve anything in life, one of the most key factors that always comes into play is stress. Stress is one of the most powerful forces that affects our lives. It also plays a direct role in affecting our self-discipline. Because of stress, we tend to make poor choices, bad decisions, and even do things we wouldn't normally do. This is due to the fact that we cannot cope with the feelings and emotions that are triggered by the response that we get from stress. Think about it in these terms. How does being angry or upset affect the way you think? Do things change when you are calm and able to make decisions with a clear head? For example, you just had an argument with your boss. Naturally, you're upset about the incident, but you have to go back to work, so you spend the next couple of hours trying to focus on getting your work done. After all, you need to keep going. How do you feel at that point? Do you still strive to do your best, or do you simply slow down and go through the motions? For many folks, carrying on with their work after an incident of this nature is virtually impossible. They are unable to concentrate and muster up enough willpower to do things as best they can. In the worst of cases, they may just sit there sulking. Don't worry if this is you. We have all been there at one point or another. Of course, the problem is not feeling that way. The problem is letting it run your life. If you let negative incidents run your life, then you will be in constant struggle between what you would like to do and what you must do. This is the dilemma that willpower can solve. One particularly important consideration to keep in mind is the fact that willpower becomes depleted over time. You may be a naturally strong and motivated person, but as distractions, problems, and circumstances all come together, they can conspire to gnaw away at your willpower. This will cause you to become weaker and less in tune with your natural abilities to stay strong. There are many different things which can zap your willpower. The worst ones are the kind that zap your willpower instantly. These are the triggers which may cause you to go off your diet or simply sink in a chair and just watch television. That is why it is fundamental for you to find the sources that are draining your willpower. Often, they are virtually undetectable. So take the time to go through the sources of your main distractions. Please bear in mind that distractions are not necessarily things, such as video games or social media, or events such as interruptions at work. Some of the most powerful distractions may be people. Yes, people. That is why it is also important to analyze the folks who surround you on a daily basis. Are these folks really conducive to your development and your growth? Or are these folks affecting your ability to think clearly and improve the quality of life? Consider this situation. You are on a diet because you're looking to lose a few pounds and clean up your eating habits. However, all your friends could care less. They are constantly eating out at fast food places. Now, you have become an outsider because you're always looking to have the healthy option while everyone else is scarfing down burgers, fries, and pizza. How long do you think you will hold out before succumbing to temptation? Indeed, you need to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who will support your decision to have a healthy choice. In fact, they may be willing to give tips and advice on healthy eating and nutrition. Sure, you may have the strongest willpower in the world, but if you don't surround yourself with an environment conducive to achieving your goals, you will find considerable headwinds hindering your ability to stay motivated. If the folks who are holding you back happen to be your family, then you may consider limiting your interactions with them to situations in which they won't be able to undermine your willpower. So, if they choose not to eat healthily, you can choose to avoid mealtimes. There are plenty of other opportunities in which you can spend quality time together. Beyond people, willpower needs time to recover. Willpower is like any muscle in the body which needs time to rest and recuperate, especially after exposure to prolonged periods of stress. Keep in mind that the longer you are exposed to stress, the more time you need to recover your willpower's full ability. With that in mind, let's look at some tips and strategies which you can use to help your willpower regain its full strength. Coping with stress. Learning how to cope with stress is the single most important thing you can do for yourself in general. Unfortunately, modern life is filled with plenty of sources of stress. Virtually everything around us can potentially lead to increased stress levels. That is why we need to be able to find the best ways in which we can handle the pressure and increased demands upon our sanity. Simple tips like taking deep breaths when things are getting hot and heavy can go a long way to calming down. Other tips include the use of positive affirmations, such as repeating to yourself, "I got this." Bear in mind, by maintaining a positive inner dialogue, you can improve your chances of truly dealing with stressful situations. In addition, please remember that you have been in tough spots before, so drawing on those experiences will certainly help you focus on how to deal with the ones ahead of you. Lastly, having a trusted friend or relative with whom you can vent is also a terrific way for you to blow off some steam. Just by getting your feelings off your chest, you can help the pressure cool off significantly. Effective energy management. When energy levels get low, it is easy for your willpower to tank. When this happens, you are prone to breaking your diet, overdoing drinking, and even skipping the gym. Naturally, breaks and rest are necessary. But then again, there is a limit to how much rest you actually need. Therefore, it is important to get enough sleep, rest, and exercise. When you are sleep deprived, the area of the brain that is hit the hardest is the prefrontal cortex. Given that this area controls your decision-making ability, sleep deprivation will impair the prefrontal cortex's usual functions. As a result, you may find yourself losing control over things that you may normally have a handle on. This is why many folks tend to overeat when they haven't slept too well. So, the solution is to get at least 6 hours sleep every night. Also, regular exercise is necessary if you want to ensure a healthy lifestyle in addition to a healthy brain. Keep in mind that the proper nutrition and exercise are the building blocks to a healthy brain and increased willpower. After all, don't you feel much more motivated to go to the gym and stay on your diet after you've gotten a good night's sleep? Meditation and mindfulness. These two words may seem like catchphrases that everyone seems to be throwing around nowadays. But the fact of the matter is that mindfulness can help you stay focused and boost your willpower. How so? By helping you live in the present. When you're keenly aware that you live in the present, you will not worry about what is going to happen, or worse yet, what has already happened. In fact, the past and the future don't really exist. What counts is the present. So by focusing on the moment you're living now, you can give your willpower just the boost it needs. For instance, marathon runners don't start out thinking they will run 26.2 miles. All they think about is running 1 mile. Once that one is done, they think about the next mile, and so on. If you happen to think about the 26 miles you're going to run, you will feel your motivation plummeting. So the next time you set out to do something tough, take it 1 mile at a time. With regard to meditation, taking a few minutes out of your day to unwind and unplug from everything is essential to helping you recover and regroup. Make a point of taking the time to unplug from technology, television, and any other type of distraction. As you do this, breathe deeply and envision yourself enveloped by light. This is the light that will help you recover the strength that you need to carry on the next day. By disconnecting yourself from technology and other electronic devices, you will give your brain the chance to recuperate its focus. Prioritizing. One of the most stressful things in life is to take on too much. When you take on too much, you begin to get a sensation of being overwhelmed. While it is perfectly normal to feel like this at times, it may become a grave issue if left unaddressed. So it is important to prioritize your tasks and activities so that you know exactly what to do, especially when things get hot and heavy. If you do not plan and prioritize, you will panic because you may not be able to get a handle on things. You may not be aware of what to do and when to do it, so it is very important for you to get a grip on things through careful planning. Of course, not all things can be planned and accounted for. There are always unforeseen events that happen throughout the day. Nevertheless, through effective planning, you can make the most of your willpower to deal with unexpected events. By implementing these tips that we've described above, you can help give your willpower the boost it needs in order to keep strong. Please keep in mind that the worst thing you can do is not address the circumstances around you. By taking proactive steps, you can take back control of your life and the circumstances surrounding you. Chapter 3. Seeing Things Through. In this chapter, we're going to look at the importance of planning and how effective planning can take unnecessary pressure off your willpower. One of the hallmarks of strong willpower is the ability to see things through to the end. Often, people who lack willpower will get involved in one thing or another only to leave it halfway through. Surely, you know some folks like this. They're the ones who seem to get involved in everything around them only to move on to something else after a couple of weeks. These folks never see anything through because they lack the willpower to stick to something until the end. In addition, seeing things from beginning to end requires a high degree of self-discipline that, frankly, most people only wish they had. But this doesn't have to be your case. If you are the kind of person that never sees anything through to the end, then the time has come for you to plan. Resolve to see things through from beginning to end. You will find that just making that decision will help you boost your willpower, and by extension, your self-confidence. Now, the biggest mistake that most people make is to take on too much at the same time. This is a real momentum killer. When you take on too much at once, you are putting yourself in a tough spot. What you're doing is making it hard for you to focus on a single thing. That opens the door to the overwhelming feeling of anxiety and stress. So the first thing you need to do is set your priorities straight. By doing so, you will be able to cut out unneeded things from your life and focus on the things which you truly need to work on. Prioritizing your activities is one of the hardest things you can do. The reason for this is that everything is important. It's hard to cut something out due to fear of disappointing someone or failing to complete something. However, these feelings ultimately lead to procrastination. It may sound counterintuitive, but it is true. When you become overwhelmed by all the tasks which you need to get done, you end up feeling unable to cope with everything. So our immediate reaction is to drop everything and to find a task which can help us cope with the feelings of stress and anxiety. That is why, when you are faced with a tough day ahead, you end up spending a lot more time on your phone or on social media than on actually getting work done. It is only natural to assume that we will end up losing focus when there is too much going on at the same time. While it is true that some folks thrive on pressure, there are people who need to be on tight deadlines and harsh conditions to truly flourish. However, many people need to have clear guidelines in order to be at their best. Hence, planning your priorities will go a long way toward helping you gain the focus you truly need to set yourself up for success. Here is a quick and easy method which you can use to set your priorities in order. First, begin by classifying the tasks you need to do during any given period according to the following categories. 1. Urgent and important. 2. Important but not urgent. 3. Important. 4. Unimportant. These 4 categories will give you a good sense of direction as to how you can classify your tasks. Urgent and important tasks are the ones which must be addressed immediately. These are the tasks that require your attention and yours alone. These are not the ones which you can delegate to anyone else. If you do, you may run the risk of creating more problems than solutions. For instance, there is a medical emergency for a loved one, so you are the one who is in charge of making sure they get the treatment and attention they need. You can't just call someone up to take them to the emergency room. Even if you must miss work, then so be it. Important but not urgent means that these are tasks which require your attention but not right away. These are the tasks which you can put off until they need to be done. They are not life and death situations but need to be dealt with promptly. For example, you feel some discomfort in a tooth. While you are not in agony, you can't put it off indefinitely. so you can plan the dentist's appointment at the first available moment you get. Important tasks are just that, important. However, they may not necessarily require your personal attention. These tasks may be delegated to someone else who can take care of them for you. In addition, these tasks may be put off until the right time comes around. For instance, your car needs servicing, so you can ask a family member to take the car in for service at your trusted mechanic's shop. Since you are confident in the work done by the shop, you don't need to be there in order to ensure things are done right. Unimportant tasks are just that, unimportant. They can be put off or postponed until there's a chance to get them done. These tasks are generally delegated to someone else who can do them for you. In other cases, these are tasks which you want to do, but have no sense of urgency to do them. For example, you may be looking forward to watching your favorite television series. Thanks to streaming services, you can watch your favorite shows whenever you like. So, you can make some time one evening and catch up. In general, setting your priorities straight is all about linking them with the overarching goals in your life. When you can do this, you will be able to easily discern which activities are important and which ones are not. If your goal is to graduate from college, then your actions ought to be geared toward graduating from college. This may mean that parties and sporting events may take a back seat while you finish your degree. You may give greater priority to your academic pursuits while even curtailing your social and family events. Ultimately, everything you do will be oriented toward achieving your ultimate goal. As you begin to get a sense of what is crucial to your endeavors, you will begin to gain focus and clarity as to what you need to accomplish. This, in turn, will help you boost your self-discipline simply because you know what to do at any given time. When you are clear on your priorities, you won't feel overwhelmed. Far from it. You will feel a sense of calm, even if you know that the road ahead is not the easiest one. Another great tip for helping you see things through is to do the hard things first. Often we tend to get the easy things out of the way first and leave the toughest things for last. In a way, this makes sense because getting smaller things out of the way allows you to focus on the big stuff without much interruption. Yet, there is one important reason for leaving the smaller, easier things to the end. Your willpower diminishes over time. So if you leave the big tasks for the end, you may not have the willpower to see them through. This may also lead you to leave things unfinished as you move from one task to another. Consider this example. You are working on a project. There have been some issues arriving with a supplier. As such, you need to make a phone call to this supplier to straighten things out. But you know that this call will not be easy, so you put it off until the end of the day. Do you really think you will be in the mood to deal with that phone call at 4 p.m.? That is why making the call first thing in the morning, when your energy is at its peak, is the best time of day. Since your energy is up, your willpower is also strong. That will allow you to muster up the courage you need to face that call. Then you can go about the rest of your day working on less intense tasks. So, resolve to do the heavy lifting at the beginning of the day. You will find that by doing so, you'll be able to make considerable headway without feeling drained. The feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment that you get from getting through a difficult task is unbeatable. Chapter 4. Energy Management. In this chapter, we're going to drill down about energy management and how it can translate into boosting your overall self-discipline. Earlier, we discussed the topic of energy management, albeit briefly. We showed how energy management is essential in getting a handle on things. In short, the more rested you are, the more your willpower will be strengthened, and the easier it will be to see things through to the end. Yet, effective energy management is easier said than done. We live in an age when there is greater emphasis placed on getting more stuff done, regardless of whether you have the time and energy to do it. So you may find yourself shuffling from one place to another. There's work, school, social engagements, family commitments, relationships, charity events, and so on. If you get stressed out just by hearing that, then you are not alone. In fact, our modern lifestyle places so much emphasis on getting things done, being there for everyone and simply managing everything, that it leads to stress and even burnout. When you push yourself too hard, without taking the time to truly consider the best way to manage your energy, you may lead yourself to burning out. So, what is burnout? Burnout is a condition in which your body eventually breaks down and presents physical symptoms as a result from the stress and anxiety you have been facing. Here are some common symptoms of burnout: constant fatigue, moodiness, irritability, sadness, depression, lack of interest in your favorite activities, sleeping problems, sleeping too much or not at all, eating disorders, eating too much or not at all. These are just some of the issues associated with burnout. The list is actually quite extensive. Nevertheless, we are highlighting the most common and important ones. When an individual is burnt out, they will seem out of sorts. They are not their usual self. In addition, they will present physical symptoms that may range from mild, such as sleepiness, to severe, such as high blood pressure and even the possibility of a heart attack. The fact of the matter is that leaving stress and anxiety untreated can lead to chronic conditions from which a person may never fully recover. Therefore, dealing with stress and anxiety while they are still manageable is crucial to overall health and well-being. Now, in terms of improving your overall performance and self-discipline, energy management becomes vital to ensuring that you will have the drive and motivation to keep going in spite of the conditions you may be facing. For instance, it is much easier to get up and go to the gym when you are feeling rested and energized than when you are sleep-deprived and feeling blue. In fact, you may feel compelled to compensate for your feelings by scarfing down comfort food instead of hitting the gym. So, what can you do to help you manage your energy more effectively? There are several things which you can do to help you stay energized and focused, especially on the hardest of days. Getting enough sleep. Earlier, we discussed how not getting enough sleep can affect your decision-making abilities, thereby undermining your willpower. However, sleep deprivation goes a lot further than just making poor dietary choices. Over prolonged periods of time, sleep deprivation can cause your cognitive abilities to seriously decline. As a result, your diminished cognitive capabilities may lead you to have serious trouble focusing and carrying out some of the most common intellectual tasks. In addition, sleep deprivation can lead you to suffer from chronic fatigue. Chronic fatigue is often confused with other types of illness, and while other medical conditions may contribute to your lack of energy, the lack of sleep is the first and foremost culprit of zapping your energy. This is why getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night is the easiest way to help you get back on track. This will not only help you get a handle on your energy levels, but it will also help you stay clear-headed. One other important benefit of getting enough sleep is that you will also balance out the chemistry in your brain. Research shows that sleep deprivation can lead to emotional issues such as depression. While sleep deprivation may not be the root cause of depression, it is certainly a contributing factor. So, getting enough sleep is essential in maintaining an overall healthy and productive lifestyle. Setting up a morning routine. You often read about how the most successful CEOs and entrepreneurs all have a morning ritual they stick to. While it might vary from individual to individual, having a morning routine is essential to maintaining high levels of energy and focus. However, a successful morning routine starts the night before. One of the most important things to do is have a consistent bedtime. Whatever your bedtime, it ought to be as consistent as possible. In addition, your bedtime should also allow you to get enough sleep, that is, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. A successful bedtime routine may include unplugging from electronic devices. Devices such as phones and tablets may stimulate your brain to a point where you won't be able to get to sleep fast enough. In addition, the blue light emitted by such devices can disrupt your brain's chemistry to a point where even if you do fall asleep quickly, you won't be able to enter deep sleep. Please bear in mind that deep sleep is where the body enters its recovery phase. It is during this phase that your body regenerates its energies and heals itself. Just as having a consistent bedtime is important, having a consistent wake-up time is also crucial. By waking up at the same time and going about your morning routine in the same manner, you will be able to manage your energies more efficiently. Your routine should include some type of exercise and/or mindfulness. Furthermore, brushing up on current events and other relevant information will help you get into the right frame of mind. However, take care of not jumping straight into email and other work-related tasks, as this may cause your stress levels to rise. So, making sure that you start your day off right will go a long way towards helping you become successful throughout the entire day. Take a break. One of the most overlooked components of energy management is taking regular breaks. In general, we tend to swing from one end of the spectrum to another when it comes to taking breaks. For starters, we may end up taking too many breaks and thereby reducing productivity. In contrast, we may neglect to take enough breaks and end up pushing the envelope too much. So there is a clear need for balance. When you choose to take regular and scheduled breaks, you know that you can work for a given amount of time, stop and regroup before jumping back into the fray. If anything, regular breaks allow you to use that time to reflect on how things are going. Also, you can simply take a deep breath and let your mind at ease for a while. Often simple breaks such as getting up and walking around for a few minutes can go a long way. One amazingly effective technique is stretching. Whether you are sitting at a desk or standing on your feet all day, stretching can help you feel a lot more comfortable. Stretching helps keep your muscles from getting stiff. In addition, it signals to the brain that there is something else going on than just sitting. Another interesting activity which you can implement is taking power naps. Power naps are very short naps, usually no more than 15 minutes. If possible, taking a power nap can help your brain reset just enough to give you a burst of energy for 2 or 3 hours worth of work. This is ideal when you haven't slept well and just need to make it through the rest of your day. The most important thing to keep in mind is that taking scheduled breaks also builds self-discipline. The reason for this is that you become accustomed to working for a specific amount of time, and then you also become accustomed to resting for a specific amount of time. You won't feel tempted to waste your time doing something else because you already have built this habit in yourself. Please bear in mind that self-discipline extends to various aspects of life and not just work. Being disciplined with rest and recovery is also crucial to ensuring that you will remain productive throughout the time that you're officially on. Consequently, making out a schedule for both work and rest is of the utmost importance. Getting enough rest is vital, especially when you consider that willpower diminishes over time. As such, getting enough sleep and rest will lead you to be the best that you can be. Chapter 5. Mind Yourself. In this chapter, we're going to be taking a look at mindfulness and meditation. In addition, we're going to be taking a look at how these two techniques can be used to help you improve your overall mood and energy levels. Being an energetic person starts in the mind. While it is generally believed that energy is a purely physical aspect, having adequate energy levels begins with a strong mindset. It is undoubted that your mind can play tricks on you. If your mindset is not geared towards success and effective energy management, your energy levels can quickly become drained. On the other hand, if you have a strong mindset, then that alone can help you compensate for lower physical energy levels. This is due to the fact that having your mind in a clear state can help you draw on willpower that you may not have thought you had. This is a common feat pulled off by professional athletes. As they find themselves at the limit of their physical capabilities, they somehow draw on some inner strength in order to pull through. For regular folks, this may be seen in the inner strength summoned to get through tough periods at work, through personal turmoil, or even other types of conflict. Yet, the big question is, where does this additional power come from? Is it some type of genetic disposition? Is it some kind of mental power? The fact of the matter is that it is hardly anything special. What it is a special state of mind which will lead you to draw inner strength from places you probably thought didn't exist. Being able to summon those powers comes from your mental disposition. Consider this situation. You find yourself exhausted after a long day at work. When you get home, the sight of your family suddenly energizes you and gives you the push you need to get through the rest of the evening. That sudden burst of energy was hardly a physical boost. It was a psychological boost that you got from spending time with your loved ones. This stems from a positive mindset. By understanding that time with family is valuable, you are making the most of the strength you have. On the other hand, if you dread coming home, then whatever energy you had left will be quickly zapped. That is actually a common occurrence at work. When you hate your job or find yourself stuck in a job you can't leave, your energy levels plummet every time you show up at work. Yet your energy levels suddenly spike when it's time to leave. So what gives? A positive mental attitude is the first step you need to take in order to keep your energy levels high. If you cannot switch to a positive frame of mind, then you may find yourself trudging through your entire day, and that is not a fun way to spend the day. Keeping a positive mental attitude is generally derived from understanding your purpose in life. When you have a clear purpose in life, you are able to make sense of the things that you're going through on a daily basis. You are able to commit yourself to doing things the best that you can. Think about it in these terms. You work a job that you truly love. This job defines who you are, and it gives your life meaning and purpose. However, you have to deal with some unpleasant colleagues. Nevertheless, the job fulfills your purpose in life. Consequently, you can get past negative colleagues and focus on doing your job as best you can. Now look at it from this perspective. You are at a job you hate, yet you don't quit because you have supportive colleagues and the pay is good. So you'd be foolish to leave this job. You know it will be hard to find a better job elsewhere. So the best thing you can do is suck it up and keep going to work every day. Based on both of these scenarios, who do you think will enjoy their work more? Of course, if you happen to find yourself in a job that you hate, which doesn't pay well, and the environment is terrible, then it is time to find a new job. Nevertheless, having a positive mindset will give you just the boost you need to get through anything. A positive mental attitude can be seen in the way you talk to yourself. If your inner dialogue revolves around positive outcomes, then chances are you will have positive outcomes. For example, you keep telling yourself that a bad job is only temporary. Soon you will find a better job that will offer the pay and benefits that you want. A positive mental attitude can also help you get through nagging aches and pains. How do you react when you have a cold? Are you the kind who just collapses on the bed? Or are you the kind who gets up and keeps moving despite illness? Generally, folks with a more positive disposition will be likelier to just get up and keep moving, despite having a cold or the flu. They feel a lot better when they're doing something that gives them a sense of purpose, rather than just lying in bed. Of course, it is necessary to get rest in order to fully recover from illness, but the main point is that they don't let something like the flu ruin their lives. They will take it for what it is, just another bump in the road. Ultimately, your ability to get through hard times boils down to your mental state. But how can you boost your mental state? Here are some tips which you can put into practice right away. Choose a mantra. A mantra is a phrase that you repeat to yourself over and over. This mantra can become a positive statement which you can refer to every time you need an extra boost. Something like, I can, I am, and I will, is a straightforward way of helping you get back into the proper mindset. Also, mantras need to be as positive as they can be. For instance, if you have fallen on some tough financial times, you can say to yourself, I will get the money I need to pay off my debts. This affirmation is intended to get you into the right mindset. By telling yourself that you will get the money you need, you're not thinking about a problem. On the contrary, you are thinking about a solution. Keep it real. Often, folks tend to visualize unrealistic outcomes, such as living in opulent mansions and driving exotic sports cars. Sure, it's fun to dream about things such as these, but they may not necessarily be realistic. As such, it is important to be grounded in reality. It is vital to keep your feet firmly on the ground. So, keep it real. Visualize small and easily attainable outcomes. As you actually make these visualizations come to fruition, you will build momentum and self-confidence to a point which will be very tough to beat. You will have outstanding faith in yourself. You will be certain that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. One day at a time. When practicing mindfulness and meditation, living in the present becomes the norm. You won't concern yourself with the past or the future. The fact of the matter is that there is nothing you can do about the past. As for the future, it is in your hands to build the future you want. So taking things one day at a time is crucial to making things work in your favor. Resolve to take things slowly. Make the decision to commit to doing things as best you can today. You can take care of things tomorrow. And most certainly, don't dwell on the past. The last thing you want to do is keep replaying the past over and over. So if you had a bad day, just let it go. You will not change a thing no matter how many times you go over something in your head. One of the most important things that meditation can help you achieve is introspection. When you are able to recognize your feelings and understand why things happen the way they do, you will be able to make sense of your reactions. Therefore, you won't act out of instinct. Rather, you'll be able to make sense of your reactions by dealing with things as proactively as you can. At the end of the day, your ability to manage your feelings will also help you get into the positive frame of mind that you need to be in. That way you can deal with reality as it comes at you. You won't have to face life and even adversity lying down. You will have the energy to face things head on. Chapter 6. Get your priorities straight. In this chapter, we're going to take a very deep look at how setting your priorities straight is the best way for you to get a grip on your overall energy management approach. Earlier in this book, we discussed setting priorities on a daily basis. We talked about how you can go about planning your day in order to better manage tasks and the energy needed to see them through. However, there is a larger overarching theme that surrounds setting priorities, your life's overall goals and aspirations. In particular, what do you wish to achieve with your life? What do you hope to get out of it? Most importantly, what are the dreams which keep you going? There is a plethora of answers to these questions. Such answers vary from person to person. While one person may talk about professional goals, another person may focus on personal things, such as family. This chapter is not concerned with the goals themselves. This chapter is concerned about recognizing the goals which keep you going. In order to understand what keeps you going, you must first understand what truly lies in your heart. That is, what it is that really makes you tick. Don't worry if you don't have an immediate answer to that. Most folks can't really answer that off the top of their heads. In fact, many folks go through their entire lives without being clear on what it is they want to get out of life. Many times people will do what is expected of them, but they never really get the chance to do what they want. This is what creates inner turmoil in many folks. Of course, there are some who just settle for the reality they are faced with. Yet there are those who do not conform to the hand they are dealt. They push and persevere to reach the dreams which they feel will make them reach the most important aspects of their life. Here is a simple exercise which you can use to determine what you really want to get out of life. Imagine for a moment that you have one wish. Suppose that this wish will change your life forever. What would you wish for? While you may be tempted to wish for world peace, bear in mind that this exercise is meant to make you reflect on what you truly want out of life. Don't hold back. This isn't the type of exercise you need to share with anyone else. This is the kind of exercise which is meant for you only. This is intended to make you reflect on your life and what you expect to get out of it. Now, for the sake of this exercise, let's suppose that you wish for a comfortable lifestyle, a nice family, and enough money for retirement and whatnot. This may seem like a pretty dull lifestyle, but it is definitely nothing to sneeze at. Now imagine how you would go about achieving it. What will it take to get you there? This is where your priorities begin to emerge. Naturally, we are compelled to do whatever it takes to put food on the table and make ends meet at the end of every month. Yet there is an overarching theme that makes our life meaningful. Whatever that theme may be, keeping your mind focused on your dreams is what will give you the energy and the willpower you need to keep going no matter what. There are times when your dreams may seem silly in light of the reality you have to face. Other times they seem unattainable, given the circumstances which you are dealing with. But this is where a positive mindset will help you see through the dust. When you are focused on the final outcomes, knowing what to do actually becomes easy. It is not difficult to see through the myriad of issues and actually focus on what you need to do in order to achieve your goals. So, your priorities should start with everything you need to do in order to achieve your dreams. Whatever you need to do in order to achieve them, you need to prioritize them. For example, if your main goal in life is to become the best athlete you can be, then you need to prioritize training, nutrition, and rest. Everything else becomes secondary. The most important thing in your life is family, so you prioritize your life around work and family. You make time for your family so that all your energy and focus is devoted to them. These are just a couple of examples of how understanding what your main goals in life are can lead you to get a clear perspective on what you need to do to get there. Now, the flip side to that is cutting out the things which you know you don't need in life. This means you need to find the main energy drains in your life. You need to find which things are holding you back. When you identify these hindrances, you will be able to give them the heave-ho when you need to. For example, if you find yourself stuck in a situation that is doing you more harm than good, this could be a job, a relationship, or the place where you live, you need to assess how much you need to hold on to this situation. If it is easy for you to get rid of it, then you need not waste any time. If, on the contrary, you cannot do away with this situation quite so easily, then you need to reassess how much of your energy should be devoted to other things which can offset the negative feelings. You may find that going to your church on a regular basis will energize your spirits. Perhaps taking part in a charity group will help you find a greater sense of purpose. You may even consider finally taking up that hobby which you have been putting off. Whatever you choose to do, the point here is to give you a greater sense of focus and perspective. For most folks, taking that first step is the hardest, identifying what they really want out of life. Nevertheless, getting a clear perspective on what you really want out of life will help everything else fall into place. Don't waste another minute of your time on chores which will not lead you to your overall goals in life. If you are concentrated on making the most of each waking moment, then you will find that energy and willpower will be the last things to run out on you. Sure, you'll need to take a break and catch your breath. Nevertheless, it won't be hard for you to get back into the swing of things. Also, please bear in mind that you should make a priority of cutting out things which do not lead you to achieving your goals. If you find yourself wasting time with people who do not help you to become a better person, then you may need to reassess your social circle. If you happen to find yourself wasting your time on aimless tasks such as watching television or just rifling through social media, then you need to reassess your habits. Ultimately, you control your own destiny. And while we are often forced to engage in activities which we may not enjoy, the fact of the matter is that we hold our fate in our hands. There is nothing stopping you from achieving what you want to do with your life. Unless your goal is to swim to the moon, there is nothing holding you back but yourself. So, take the time to map out the things which you wish to do with your life. Then break down the tasks which you need to complete in order to achieve that dream. Next, make a concerted effort to get started immediately on completing those tasks. Don't be afraid to clean up the parts of your life which require you to do so. After that, make a checklist and hold yourself accountable to those things which you need to accomplish. They may not take days. In fact, they may take weeks or even months. But as you begin to check items off your list, you will begin to get a sense of accomplishment that is unrivaled. You will begin to feel that you are really on top of the world. After all, what could be holding you back? The only thing that is holding you back is in your mind. That is why the final step in the process is to roll up your sleeves and go ahead and do it. You don't depend on anything or anyone else. You have everything you need in order to become the most successful version of yourself. Everything will fall into place. Conclusion. It seems like we just got started on this book a few moments ago. Yet here we are at the end. We've gone over self-discipline and how you can boost it in order to achieve your goals and dreams. That is why the first step is to determine what those goals and dreams are. When you figure out what you really want in life, then determining what else needs to be done is not quite so hard. The hard part then becomes getting up and getting things done. But that's where your willpower will get you through the harder aspects of life. Your willpower will get you through the tough days and the tough times. Furthermore, strong willpower is exactly what you need in order to make the most of your skills and talents. Please bear in mind that developing strong willpower isn't something which happens overnight. Similarly, it is a skill which can be developed just like any other. So don't be afraid to invest the time and effort into building your willpower. After all, you have everything you need in order to get started on building the life that you have always wanted. So, what are you waiting for? The longer you wait to get started building your willpower and momentum, the longer it will take you to reach the end zone. Don't wait another minute. Act now and reap the rewards sooner rather than later. Thank you for reading. See you next time. This has been The Science of Self-Discipline, how daily self-discipline, everyday habits, and an optimized belief system will help you beat procrastination, plus why discipline equals true freedom. Written by Timothy Willink, Accelerated Learning Academy. Narrated by Brad Hill. Copyright 2019 by Timothy Willink, Accelerated Learning Academy. Production copyright by Timothy Willink, Accelerated Learning Academy.